Welcome everyone to geometry. We're going to continue talking about transformational geometry, and we're going to look at reflections and glide reflections. So this is the section where we want to have a mirror available to us. And because of how I'm recording our notes, it's a little bit difficult for me to use a mirror. I'm going to attempt to, so we'll see how it goes. But bear with me and forgive me if it doesn't go particularly well. I have found a video that also gives a demonstration of how to use a mirror, and then I would also highly recommend that you actually visit during class if you have any questions about using a mirror. So mirror is what it is called, and when I refer to one, I'm referring to a mirror. Okay, so let's take a look at reflections and glide reflections. Probably split it up into two videos as well. So a reflection of the plane, it is described by a line that indicates the mirror used in the reflection. Excellent. So we can reflect a particular image using a ruler. Keep in mind that all we have to do is find a collection of, if we have a given line and we have a point, we can find the perpendicular, and then we can find that distance. So if we have A, we can find A prime by considering the perpendicular and then finding the point the same distance out on the line. So we can reflect the individual points in this way. So we don't need a mirror. It just becomes convenient to have one. So when we can use a mirror, and when we have a mirror, it becomes easy for us to reflect figures over a line, find a line of reflection, find midpoints, and to make perpendicular bisectors. We can also make angle bisectors and check for parallelism of lines. Now, I'm going to not necessarily demonstrate each one of these things because some of them are either relatively obvious or deserve the investigation that they may require to understand them. So we want to take a look at a couple of examples of reflections using a mirror. But again, this may not go particularly well, so we'll see how it goes. And the biggest problem is going to be that I have to hold the camera with one hand and then do all of the remaining manipulations with my other hand. Because we're going to step away from the computer for a moment, and we're going to take a look at a piece of paper. So before we look at the paper, I want to show what a mirror looks like. Now there are variations of this. Most of them are red, some of them are blue, so there's a little bit of variation there. But there's a couple characteristics that you want to pay close attention to. So you'll notice here, if I can point this very well, let's move it over here where it, okay, so you can see that the edge of that, the edge is not, right, it's not flat on both sides. So on this side, it's angled a little bit, okay? That's the side that is sometimes referred to as the drawing edge. It's the edge that you want to line up with lines of reflection and that sort of thing. So I'm going to try to give a really quick demonstration of what it looks like here on some images that I've already reflected and drawn. So if you take a low angle of observation, it can be a little bit difficult to see the reflections. If you take a higher angle, then you can actually pretty easily see the reflection. So this is the original image, and over here, right over on this side, the other side, there's no image. okay? So if I were to set my mirror along this edge here, I'm going to, again, use that beveled edge, and I'm going to set it so that way it's pretty much right on the line. So if I move it over a little bit, you can see the line, set it really close to it. And now you see that the reflection and the image drawn line up. That's because I used that reflection to draw that triangle, okay? So hopefully you can see a little bit about what's going on there. So once I have that, once I have the mirror, I can go ahead and draw, right? If I wanted to draw a different reflection, let's say I want it over there, right? I can draw the reflection like this. There we go. Excellent. So now I have a copy of it. Okay, so that's how we use a mirror. And on the problem that we're given on our book, right, we go ahead and we set our mirror on the line, take an appropriate angle of observation, trace out the image, and we have our copy. Excellent. You'll notice that if you use the wrong edge, you'll get an incorrect image. So what we have is the correct image. Notice that the distance here and the distance here appears to be the same. If we use the wrong edge on our mirror to line things up, then we would end up tracing the wrong image. Okay. That is the reflection. That is the actual. Okay. So we want to be careful about that. So we can do that for the second example as well. So I can place this, well, make sure I use the correct edge here. So again, take the appropriate angle of observation to be able to see the reflection, and we can trace out the reflection. Okay, so that's how we use a mirror. Again, if you're not using a permanent marker, you might be able to come up with something a little bit better in terms of quality. Now we can also use this to find, and see if I can hold this still enough. You probably can't read that, but it says we also want to use a mirror to do a couple of things here. So let's take a look at the problem. All right, so we've got, we want to use the mirror to bisect the angle, find the line of reflection. So bisect this angle, find the line of reflection here, and then determine whether L and M are parallel. And find the perpendicular bisectors of one of them. So the question, how we address each of these is we're going to go ahead and place, to find the bisector, we place the appropriate edge on the vertex. Oh, let me stop the share here a second. Okay, so we place the appropriate edge. Again, remember that there's two different edges. The edge, we're going to use, well, watch which edge I use, right? So set this down. Okay, so we set that right there. And then we look at the reflection to see when the reflection lines up with the actual line, okay? So when does the reflection line up with the line? And we need it to, right, we're going to need that edge to be on the vertex in order for this to work. All right, so once I have that there, I just go ahead and draw the line along this edge. So I hold the mirror tight and I draw the line. And there we go. We have the bisector. Looks pretty good. All right. The next thing to do is to find the line of reflection. So we just want to move the mirror until the reflected image lines up with the drawn image. Once we have that, the edge here is the line of reflection. So again, hold the mirror, draw the line, and we should see that that looks pretty good, right? Looks like the two P's are reflected over that line. Yep, excellent. All right, so then are the lines L and M parallel to one another? Well, if they are, I should be able to simply take the mirror and observe that I can create, I can get that, let's see here. I was thinking that I should be able to get these to be lined up, but I could actually do that, the reflection and the line itself. I could even get that to happen if they weren't parallel to one another, right? That's what we did to find the bisector of an angle. So all we're doing is finding the bisector. So that's not what we want. Maybe, here we go. Let's take a look at it this way and see if we make the, if we line it up so that way the reflection is in line with one of them. Right, so I set it up so that way the reflection here is on top of itself. And if I look over here, the reflection appears to be on top of itself. So that looks pretty good. This isn't the highest quality camera, so you might not be able to see super well. So I apologize about that. But you can see that as I line up the reflections, we get that they appear to be both be on top of each other. It's not perfect. So if you were to say that they were not parallel, that would be fine. But based on how well we can see in the image here that I have recording, they appear to line up pretty well. So we'll say that they're parallel. And then the other thing that I can do is to find the bisector. All right, I'm looking for the reflection to match perfectly. I want the reflection to match perfectly with what's on the other side. Excellent. I think that looks pretty good. And then that will give me the perpendicular bisector of the line N. Awesome. All right, so that is using a mirror. Now maybe that wasn't perfect. Maybe that wasn't the most appreciated demonstration. And I would not be offended by that. I agree that's not the best. So I've also found a video on YouTube. So if I'll post this link as well, but it is mirror reflection. And that's, you can see here, it's about a 6-minute video where a gentleman describes the use of a mirror. And he talks about many of the details as well that we have discussed. So you can see his mirror looks a little bit different than the one that I have. And you can see here the reflection a little bit easier. He uses some shapes to help with that. Let's see. All right. So there's a bit of discussion there. You're welcome to watch that. I would encourage you to. That link will be posted along with this video. So that's it for now. We'll move on to glide reflections in the next video. I'll see you guys again soon.